Hello, my name is Fergus. I'm addicted to television, and it's been a day since I've watched my last episode of TV, which is actually true. So I'm going to do this video, and it's about being, I suppose, a TV addict and what TV means to me as a person. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I do hold a lot in television. I have, like, up to a standard. It means a lot to me, and sounding kind of pathetic when I say it out loud, but it's true. And this video is about that. I mean, we all have our passions in life. Some people love sports, biking or rugby or whatever. People love books, people love music, people love film. I love film, but I think I hold film and television, above film a little bit. And I'm not saying one is better than the other, because I think it depends where you look at it. But for me personally, to get stuck into a really good television series I think is a lot of fun. And I got kind of first addicted. Well, not addicted. I think it all starts from Buffy. You know, I've been watching that since I was, whenever it was first on, when they showed season 1 on BBC, 98, since I was 8. And then The Simpsons, kind of around that time, I'm sure I was watching. And, you know, when I was younger, like, I don't know, 14, 15, 13, he went into my room and there was just Simpsons everywhere, Simpson posters plastered everywhere. I had a lot of Simpson figures. They are mostly in the basement, the attic now over there, but they would be everywhere. And I had the DVDs as well, of course, and it was just like Simpsonville essentially. So I guess it kind of goes back to that. But I think it kind of where I am at now, in terms of, like, I really like to get stuck into good American dramas, and, you know, comedies as well, and I guess English ones, but not as much. Like, I'll gravitate towards American drama series, and I think that started maybe in 05 or 06, when it was kind of through Empire forums that I got stuck into shows like Shield and the Arrested Development, The Shield and Arrested Development, which were kind of not so mainstream, and I think they've become a little more mainstream. But certainly when I was Arrested Development, when I started watching that, I think it was on its 3rd season at that point. But I watched it on DVD season 1 when season 3 was airing, I think. So at that point it hadn't kind of gone off into the geek circles as much, or at least that's what I have in my frame of mind. So and it was an awesome show. So, you know, I knew it was cancelled, I think, when I started watching it, or I think maybe it had already finished. But it's such a great show, and that's kind of what propelled me, I suppose, into TV addiction, you know. And then maybe a year or two later, I got into stuff like Alias, and I was thinking I was already into 24. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my box sets. And then, through Empire as well. I think in 05 I got into Battlestar, and that was when I think season 3 was airing, but again I was watching it on DVD from the beginning. That was back in the day. 07 I was getting into things like Dexter, and then was it 06? I remember how I got Veronica Mars as well, was another one I got in through the Empire forums, which I go on a lot, the Empire magazine forums. And what was it? I'd heard loads of good stuff about it when season 2 was airing, and I just caught an episode of season 1 on the Hallmark channel. It was a rerun, and instantly I was in love. It was I can tell you what episode it was. It was Mars vs Mars, season 1, episode 14. And I was in love with the show. I didn't, you know, story-wise I didn't know what was going on, who was who, but I was probably Kristen Bell at that point. I was just love. It was love at first sight, as it were. So then I watched some of season 1, and then when season 2 started on that channel, it was like Hallmark or Living or something. I watched the first half of that, so that I never saw the end of season 1. At that point, I caught like some of the back half of season 1, and so I was spoiled on the season 1 ending, unfortunately, which is a shame. But and then I went to the States that year, and I got into, sorry I'm just going off a little rant now, but I went to the States and bought season 1 and 2 on DVD. Season 2 had just come out, and powered through those, fell in love, you know, it was just the best. and then what was it? Yeah, and then I watched season 3 as it aired, and then I was heartbroken when it was cancelled. But yeah, that's how. Sorry, that was a little how I got into Veronica Mars around. What else was there? I think it was '06 I got into X-Files. I borrowed the first season off a friend, and then I bought some seasons, and then eventually I had all the seasons, and you know, as I do now. And then I got to see the second movie in the cinemas, which I did like. I love watching TV because it's such an interesting medium. It's done very fast paced, and I think lots of network TV these days is very sort of like keep it moving, keep it fast paced. You know, there's not a lot of time to take a small moment and just slow down a bit, which is the stuff they kind of do more on cable. You'll see that, especially like in The Wire. That's a very slow paced show, and not in a bad way, in a good way. But I mean, you would never see anything like that on net. You know, you just couldn't do The Wire or The Shield on network TV. Although The Shield is more theatrical, I'd say, than The Wire, which I kind of prefer, but you know, each to their own. And I think, yeah, television is an interesting medium, but I love it so much because of the characters. And in a good television show, and they have really fully developed great characters, and you can get stuck into it, and then you can spend those 5 or 6 years, or if you're lucky, I suppose these days, with you know, with these characters and see them develop, and maybe you'll have a season that's not that great, or you'll have a direction the character takes, and you're like, oh, I don't like that. But for the most part, it's such a fun experience getting stuck into a show, you know, and especially for me as well, if it's something like, let's say Lost, which is not one of my all-time favourites, but I do love it, and getting stuck into that and rewatching that or watching it for the first time, like on DVD, especially some of the latest seasons like 4 and 5, it's just such a fun experience because I think it's, for me, this may sound odd, but it's that hunger, you know? You want to see where things are going, and you just want to know where things are going, and you can get that even with unlosty type shows. I don't find it so much in procedurals, which I don't really like, apart from maybe like Bones. But procedurals just don't do it for me because I need a certain mythology, you know. I mean, not all these shows that are behind me have it, but they have it in different ways. You know, let's look at Breaking Bad here, which does have, I wouldn't say a mythology, but it's got stories that run over, you know. I mean, each episode kind of continues on. You won't really find a standalone story on Breaking Bad, as opposed to Bones, which, you know, is kind of the only procedural I like, even though I've fallen behind it. But that's more standalone without so much as a story arc. But yeah, you'll get it in different ways, and you know, you've got, let's just pull out this Alias, which is very much has a defined mythology, whether you enjoyed it or not. I know some people said it went off the rails, which I can understand, but I do love it. Yeah, so that's much more defined than, say, Breaking Bad. But I love television. You know, it doesn't have to have a mythology for me to get stuck into it. You know, if it's a good show and it's well done and it's well written and it doesn't annoy me, then I think I can probably enjoy it. You know, what I find about American television these days is that it's very glossy. It's all very glossy, and that's well and good. But there's a point where it's just like, okay, this is enough. I'm tired of people waking up in the morning on TV shows wearing makeup with their hair perfect. And, you know, or I'm tired of, you know, everyone in a FBI office building looking like models. It's, you know, and you see that on CSI, and I'm sure there's shows I watch. I mean, there is, you know, you can't really avoid it on American television. So I'm not saying that that's like makes me not want to watch the show, but certainly it does get frustrating. You know, even like when I watch Gilmore Girls, I'll watch it and I'm like, Lorelai's waking up in the morning with makeup on. Like, come on, really? She is really hot, but that's beside the point. I mean, I know you're an actress and you want to look good on TV, but you've got to, and you know, you're an actor, but there's got to be a point where it's just like, come on, can we have a little bit of realism here? I mean, I know Gilmore Girls is a bit sort of, not fantasy, but it's kind of fluffy and light, I suppose, we'll say that. But it's just like, God, it's annoying. Oh, why does everybody have to look so fucking, you know, you look at people and how much makeup they're wearing, and like, Gossip Girl, which I don't really watch. I did at one point, but that Gossip Girl, I mean, I know it's in the upper New York or whatever, and they're all supposed to be really rich and stuff, but they're all always in that show fucking dressed up to the nines. When has there been a point in Gossip Girl when you've just seen them like wearing casual clothing? I don't know. I only saw the first season, so. But yeah, sorry, that got a bit ranty, didn't it? I don't know what, I'm sort of doing this off the top of my head, so it's kind of just going all over the place. But saying all that stuff, I love television. I love staying with the character. I love seeing a story develop over the course of a season, like they do in Buffy. And I love watching characters grow, and I do, you know, for me, because that's part of the appeal for television for me, that so much like comedies don't appeal to me so much, like because something happens in one episode and then they just forget it in the next one. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I don't dislike, you know, I love Seinfeld, I love Frasier, I love Friends, I love some shows are on now, Community, what was the other one? 30 Rock, great stuff. But on those shows, I don't do it so much. But, well, they did it a bit in Seinfeld. Sorry, I'm just all over the place. But, like, I don't know, maybe they do it in Seinfeld a bit where you'll have introduced to, like, a girlfriend who some character has one season, or one episode, sorry. And then the next episode, they'll have forgotten about it and won't even mention her, which is what frustrates me about comedy. And, of course, comedy is obviously played for laughs, whereas I think I can find more drama shows funnier. And like Buffy, I think Buffy is something that I find funnier than a lot of comedies. That show does make me laugh a lot, in a good way. But you know, I like comedies that try and do something different. That I find more interesting, like Community, which I think is brilliant. Ones that kind of just push the boundaries a bit and appeal more to my sensibilities. But I do love television. For me is a very interesting medium. If anyone just wants to recommend me some TV shows, then go right ahead. I'm always looking for some new stuff. Obviously, you know, don't recommend me CSI or anything like that because bleh, essentially. But yeah, and older TV shows. I wanted to get into some older TV shows like from 60s or 70s. I kind of wanted to watch the Avengers, but anyways, yeah. If anyone wants to recommend me some shows, comment in my pants. I guess that just kind of came out all over the place, but I hope that sounded daddy. I hope you enjoyed this video about TV, and I love TV, and TV is my passion. And I think, you know, a lot of people put down TV, and then you'll find that people are like, oh, TV's crap now. Or, oh, TV was only good in the 90s. I'm just like, that's not true, but whatever. Or people put it down because, you know, film, you know, because film is seen as more art than television. But, anyways, okay, that's it. I'm done now. I'm done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one, whenever that may be. Okay, bye.
Subscribe, motherfuckers. Yeah, bitches.